We grew up in a prosperous and caring family. Our grandmother especially loved us. One day she asked us to plant 2 trees near her house, saying something about protection. My sister and I were thrilled with the idea. Grandma gave us 2 saplings, an aspen and a birch. My sister planted the aspen and I chose the birch. We looked after our trees with care, watered and fertilized them, so they grew quickly. When the trees got stronger, Grandma told us that they would help us if we felt bad or sad. I listened to my grandmother and always ran to my birch tree when I started to get sick. Leaning against it really made me feel better. But my sister didn't believe it. She didn't turn to her aspen, although it seemed to me that the trunk of the aspen was leaning in her direction. Many years passed. My sister and I grew up, and our trees grew taller. The aspen became a magnificent tree, though my birch looked good, too. But my sister and I had a misunderstanding. Sveta stole my fiancé right before the wedding and married him. When I introduced them, I never thought they would do that. But she immediately fell in love with him and started talking to him behind my back. "I'm sorry, but I love him more than life," she said to me then. For such a betrayal, I stopped communicating with her. They left for the other side of the country and I didn't hear from Sveta for many years. I stayed to live in my grandmother's house with my mom. From the windows of the house I could see our 2 trees. Every day the aspen tree reminded me of my sister's betrayal. I even thought of cutting it down, but my mom stopped me. "That's Svetlana's tree. You can't do what you want with it," she said. So we lived together, me, Mom, the aspen and the birch. The trees grew, competing with each other. Then a strange thing happened to the aspen. The tree started bending and drying out in a couple days. I touched the trunk and it was ice cold, even though it was summer. My mother said that if something bad was happening to the aspen tree, something was happening to Sveta. I got scared and went to the birch tree. It was warm and cozy there. I thought about my sister and suddenly I heard a voice, "Go on the road to the neighboring village." I went and met my sister's friend who gave me Sveta's number. I called her. We talked, but the conversation was short. I didn't tell my mom about the call. I was sad. I missed my sister. The aspen tree continued to die and the shadow grew wider. Sveta called and told me she had cancer. She died while we were on our way to see her. We buried her next to us. She had a second husband and 2 children. I promised them I would show them the aspen tree. But when we got back, the tree was dead. The black, mangled aspen stood there like that. Later we learned that it had been struck by lightning just as Sveta died.